Hello, my grasshoppers. Okay, we are going to be going through some problems here. This is review, okay, for our inclement weather today. You can refer to this if you need some help on homework, okay, for any of the problems. So, without further ado, let me get rid of my ugly mug. Bye, ugly mug. And let's look at some of these problems. This is the first one we are going to focus on. Okay, I'll give you a little secret. There's going to be an extra credit problem on your quiz that deals with this. It says find the value of r so that the line through 6, 3, and r2 has a slope of 1/2. So first thing I need to do is I need to find my slope equation. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, it's just slope. That's what we know about slope. And now we are going to label our information that we got. So we have one data point here. That's going to be my x1, y1. We have a second data point here. Oops. That is, whoa, what just happened there? That is my x2, y2. And then we have our slope. Our slope is 1/2. So that's my m. And we're going to plug in our information. So m, that's 1/2. On the top, we have y2 minus y1. So that is 2 minus 3. On the bottom, we have x2 minus x1. That is r minus 6. Now, I like to clean this up a little bit. This 2 minus 3, that would be negative 1 over r minus 6. And that is a proportion. Fraction equals fraction. Cross multiply. So we have the 1 multiplied to the r minus 6 and the 2 multiplied to the negative 1. Now, keep in mind, guys, I'm showing you one way. This is a concrete way of doing it. There are other ways, other methods. Okay, just showing you one. Distribute. Okay, r minus 6 equals negative 2. And we go ahead and solve. Add 6 to both sides. And r equals 4. Okay, so this number here, this r, has to be a 4 in order for us to get a slope of 1/2. Okay? Now, we'll come back to this in a little bit, but let's focus on some of the rate of change problems that are going to be on our quiz. Okay, this first one says find the rate of change for the linear function represented in the table. And I wanted to do this one because notice that it's written horizontally, the table is. And we normally see our tables written vertically. So we need to make sure we know which one's the x, which one's the y. So this is our x, this is our y. And then we have to remember when we're doing the slope equation or rate of change, we only need 2 data points. We have 4 data points. So we got to choose 2 of them. Does it matter which ones? No. I'm just going to choose those 2. And let's go ahead and let's label these. This is going to be my x1. This is going to be my y1. And this is where sometimes we make mistakes. Okay? These 2 go together. This is my x1, y1. This is my x2. This is my y2. We've got to make sure that we are labeling those correctly so that we can put them into the equation correctly. So I put them in the equation. On the top, y2 minus y1. That'd be 11 minus 5.5. On the bottom, x2 minus x1. That's going to be 2 minus 1. Do your computations. That is 5.1 over 1 It's rate of change, so we go ahead and divide this out, and we get 5.5. Now, that's great. That's my answer. But remember, with these problems that are like this, we are going to be giving a description of what that means. So what does that mean? That means that our money earned is a positive number, so we would use increased, and we give our answer. Money, so $5.50. Write it as money. That's how we write 5.5, $5.50 per hour. Okay? And that would be a description of what this rate of change actually means. Okay? Money earned increased $5.50 per hour. Now, it's not a lot. Okay? I definitely don't want that to be my job. Okay? Now, let's look at another one. Let's look at one that has a more of a vertical, like we traditionally see, table. Okay? Now, what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and try to find this rate of change on your own and give your description on your own. We need 2 data points. Let's be consistent. Let's just use these 2 in order to do it. So go ahead and pause the video and figure that out. I'm going to label these. So we got X1, Y1, X2, Y2. Let's find out our rate of change, our slope. So Y2 minus Y1, that's 85 minus 60. X2 minus X1 is 2 minus 1. So it's going to be 25 over 1, which is 25. Okay? Now, again, what does that actually mean? Okay? I would write it like this. Our labor charges increase is positive $25 per hour. Okay? And that would be a valid description of what that is. And that'd be for pretty good paying job. Electrician actually ends up usually making more than that. Okay? So don't sleep on that job if you have any interest. Don't sleep on electricians. Okay? And let's look at a graph now. Let's look at a graph. The graph problem on your quiz is going to have like 3 parts to it. Okay? You're going to have to decide where rate of change is either changing the fastest or the slowest, one or the other. Okay? I'm not telling you which one. You got to read the problem. Okay? You're going to have to tell me where it changes the fastest or the slowest. That's part 1. Part 2 is actually getting the rate of change. And then part 3 is giving a description for that. So if we're looking at this particular graph, and this did not screenshot very well, that's 2006. Okay. This particular graph has 3 different sections. Okay. There's 3 different sections there. Now, what I want you to think about first is where is the rate of change the biggest? Where is the rate of change the biggest? And when we're doing that, we should be thinking about where is the steepest part of the graph? Okay, where is the steepest part of the graph? And if you look at this one visually, the steepest part of the graph is this section, C. Now, how would I write that in my answer? I would use my years. It goes from, it's a section from 2004 to 2006. Okay? Now, in a side, that doesn't have to do with this problem. Okay? Where it changes the fastest or the slowest has no bearing on positive and negative. This problem just always goes up. They're all positives. But you could get a graph that looks like this. Okay? And if this was my graph, this section right here would be the steepest part. Okay, that's the steepest part. Yes, it's negative, but that's where the rate of change is the highest. Okay, it's changing the fastest during that section. Why? It's the steepest. Okay, it just happens to be decreasing, and that's not a big deal. Okay, so that's an aside. Now, part B. Let's figure out what in the world this rate of change is. Well, I need the data points. So this data point, my x is 2004. My y is the 325. That's coming right off the graph. For this data point, my x from the x-axis, that is 2006. My y is the 335. And then we would find our rate of change. It's my x1, y1. It's my x2, y2. We can plug these in. So if I did it, I would have 335 minus 325 over 2006 minus 2004. That is going to be 10 over 2. And 10 divided by 2 is 5. Now, I will point this out. It's not just the number 5. It's actually 5 million. Okay, it's actually 5 million. Okay, so that'd be part B. And then part C would be writing our description. So for our description, there's different ways to do it, but this would work. Okay, our theme park attendance increased 5 million people per year. Okay, during that time span. Okay, the theme park attendance increased 5 million people per year. Okay. So you are going to see a problem that's like this on your quiz. Okay. Now let's go back to that extra credit problem. And let's look at one of those again. Okay. If you feel up to it, I want you to pause the video and try to do this one on your own, but I know there's a little sneaky part of this one. Okay, so I'm going to go over here. You want to pause it and try it? Go ahead. Now, here's my slope equation. Let's label. It's the first data point, so there's my x1, y1. There's my second data point. That's my x2, y2. And this is my slope, my m. Now, this one's negative. You can't put the negative in the middle. You got to decide where this is going. So I'm going to put it on the top number. That's typically what I do for these. Okay? You can put it on the top or the bottom. It cannot be both, but pick. So I plug it in. M, -5 over +8 equals y2 minus y1. That is -1 minus 4 and x2 minus x1. 3 minus b. Clean up the top because that can be simplified. -1 minus 4 is -5. And this is a proportion. Again, I remind you there's different ways to do it. I'm showing you one way. Fraction equals fraction, cross multiply. So -5 gets distributed to the 3 minus b. 8 gets multiplied to -5. And that's the problem that we're going to solve. Distribute first. It's -15 plus 5p. 8 times -5 is -40. And this is the equation that we solved then. So add 15 to both sides. I get 5p equals -25. Divide by 5. And p is -5. So that number, the P, has to be -5 in order for us to get that slope as our answer. Okay? Again, it's extra credit, so if it's not making perfect sense, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. All right? Now, you will see problems like these on your quiz. Okay? You want to go ahead and pause the video, and you can practice these 6 problems. Our slope equation is this. Okay, so these would be our problems here. So I'd have 12 minus 0 over -15 minus -8. It's got to be minus -8. And that's going to give us 12 over -7. Doesn't matter where the negative is, but you should have a negative in there, just one. Number 2, we have -11 minus -13 over 4 minus 0. Minus a negative is plus, so it'd be 2 over 4. I would count that correct. It can also be simplified to be 1/2. Okay, number 3. We have -9 minus 4 over 9 minus -9. -9 minus 4 is -13. Minus negative is plus. That's going to be 18. So you should have a negative slope, -13 over 18. Number 4. We should have 7 minus 7 over 0 minus -7. It's going to be 0 over 7. You cannot leave it like that. The final answer is 0. Number 5. We should have 11 minus 12 over -9 minus -9. That's going to be -1 over 0. Again, you cannot leave it like this. When the 0 is on the bottom, that is going to end up being undefined. Okay? And our last one, -20 minus 15 over 1 minus 8. It's going to be -35 over, it's not an 8, that is a 9. 1 minus 9, Okay, so it'd be -35 over -8. You cannot leave it like that. Okay, you cannot have 2 negative signs in a fraction like that. Negative divided by negative is a positive. So you have to write it as 35 over 8. Okay, your homework assignment, okay, there's 2 sides. It's posted on your Canvas page. Okay, the rate of change side, that's the side with the word problems and stuff. Do all of them except for number 19. You can skip number 19. Okay? You can skip number 19. The other side, it just has like the slope, just regular slope problems. The ones you have to do are numbers 1 to 13, just basic slope problems. If you want extra credit on the assignment, you will be able to get an extra 2 points on the assignment, so you can get a 7 out of 5 on this particular assignment. Okay, you can do those extra problems. 16 to 23 themselves are the ones. There's going to be one of those that is going to be an extra credit problem on your quiz that you're taking. Okay, so again, these are the required parts. That's extra credit. Okay, again, that is posted as an assignment on Canvas. Okay, you can turn it in using Cami, or you can do all your work on a separate piece of paper and turn it in that way. I don't care. That is up to you. Whatever you like, you do. Okay, so y'all have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and we will see you back in school soon.